There is an evolution taking place in the business world that has nothing to do with amortization schedules, market sectors, opportunity costs, or technology. And yet again, it affects all of these and fundamentally the core of any organization. How we communicate in business, how we interact with others, and the manner in which we approach challenges in communication, both in and out of the workplace, is at the root of this trend. Interpersonal communication training is the new buzzword in business, but it takes business back to its roots as well. Training in business communication dates back as far as the late 19th century. In 1876, Willis Westlake wrote the preeminent authority on that when he wrote the book How to Write Letters. He focused predominantly on etiquette, format, and punctuation. His introduction laments that schools of that time sadly neglect that kind of training. He called for business communication in that time to be formal, polite, and technically, grammatically correct. In fact, in his business letter writing section, he wrote, "Letter writing is indispensable in business. Many good situations are obtained by teachers, clerks, and others on account of this ability, and quite as many are lost for the want of it." And that kind of sums up communication even still today. Beyond Westlake's theory, though, in the early to the mid 1900s, communication became more scientific in nature. Communication at that time was generally taught by English teachers, with speech and oral communication being the focus. In 1914, speech teachers tried to change that focus and they separated themselves from the English literature teachers, forming the National Association of Academic Teachers of Public Speaking, which they later renamed to Speech Association of America. They published the Quarterly Journal of Public Speaking, their professional journal, and they ordered their members to have a sufficiently scientific frame of mind, completely turn around from what Westlake was looking for. Following that train of thought, in the 1960s, David Berlow, who was a social scientist, adapted scientific representations of communication to create his model, which is the source message channel receiver model. Berlow felt that communication skills were teachable, learnable skills. And if he broke those skills down into focused lessons as he did, you would create expert communicators achieving the most efficient and the most effective communication. Generation X changed that all. No more social concern, no more scientific study. It's all about persuasion, buzzwords, industry jargon, less attention to formality, tact, and technically correct communication. When the Gen Xers arrived on the business scene at the dawn of the 21st century, their unique personality characteristics changed communication training yet again. These independent problem solvers, these reality driven, technologically competent professionals dismissed the artistic and scientific notion of communication altogether. Theirs was the age of the ubiquitous sales letter, consultative selling, value statements, and focus on buzzwords and industry jargon. Communication training focused on persuasion, and a lot less attention was given to formality, tact, or even technically correct communication. Enter the millennials, the generation that melded social and scientific. This generation of high achieving professionals grew up in team building and collaborative action playgroups. They were very confident in themselves, but they're somewhat sheltered from the harsher realities of life because in their world, everyone gets a ribbon for participating. Everyone has an idea worth sharing. It's the generation that really became the impetus for interpersonal training in business, and many of you hearing this are in that generation now. According to their own website, which Generation Y, the millennials, have their own website, constant feedback, gratitude, relaying to someone that they're doing a good job are common characteristics of Generation Y. In generations before, this level of communication was unheard of with senior management. However, Generation Y in the workplace seeks this level of love. This is a revolutionary statement by this generation. They have paired the business world with the need to be loved, the need to interact, the need to be a part of something bigger. This generation is technologically savvy. They are creative, they're focused, but most importantly, they are collaborative. And they changed the face of business and industry in one generation, melding the impact of social interaction and technology. The conduct of business has changed. It's evolved, as we've seen. And as each new generation enters the professional arena, technological advancements change the way in which tasks can be completed, and we have to introduce new methods and practices. Recent studies show that more than 90% of all workers use email as a primary means of communication between coworkers, vendors, and customers. But because of the influence of the millennials, more than 80% still use an office phone to make a personal connection with that same group of people. Workers today blend the technology for communication with interactive, personal connection historically prevalent in business. Because the workforce in place is focused on competitive success, sometimes pushing the older workers out who still rely on the old ways of just doing what's expected, interpersonal training helps blend the different and sometimes conflicting worker traits. Additional studies show a direct correlation between improving employees' interpersonal communication skills and the effect on business. Seems like a no-brainer. Geraldine Hines, who is a professor at the College of Business Administration at Sam Houston State University in Huntsville, Texas, completed a study on the correlation between improving employees' interpersonal communication skills and its effect on business. She cited research that confirms a direct causal relationship between work performance and factors such as satisfaction, motivation, and a positive attitude. Interpersonal business communication training is what creates the atmosphere conducive to developing these factors. There are hundreds of thousands of resources for learning interpersonal communication techniques. Public and private colleges, as well as all manner of self-improvement and training organizations, offer interpersonal communication training. For example, Purdue University College of Liberal Arts offers a graduate degree specifically in interpersonal communications. The program touts that graduates can parlay these skills in their academic arena, corporate and private sectors, and in non-for-profit operations. The Stanford Graduate School of Business not only offers an elective class in their MBA program, an elective class, then they go to the extent that they offer the standard Interpersonal Dynamics Facilitation Training Program to train facilitators for that program. Let me tell you, this is a competitive admission, highly specialized, focused, and comprehensive program on interpersonal communication. The curriculum includes communication, decision making, cognitive processes, interviewing, nonverbal communication, stress and coping, mass media communication, and sociolinguistics, just to name a few. Then there's a wide variety of companies in the United States that provide fee-for-service training, whether it's offered in a corporate setting or if it's offered personally. National Seminars Training, which is a company out of Kansas City, Missouri, and associated with Rockhurst University, offers interpersonal communication training seminars and webinars all across the country. Their goal is to meet the ever-expanding continuing education needs of adult professionals in all industries and professionals. The interpersonal communication topics they teach range from strengthening people skills in the workplace, to handling conflict and confrontation, to giving and receiving feedback and constructive criticism, and hundreds more. Internationally, businesses are also recognizing the need for interpersonal training. I found dozens. The University of Sydney in Australia, TAC International in Dubai, Leading Edge in South Africa, Abacus Business Coaching in Ireland. They all have prominent interpersonal communication training programs. And the programs, the curriculums are substantially the same as the U.S. training, but it really places a focus on the global trend that we will benefit from individuals and businesses learning more about interpersonal training techniques. There is even a petition on change.org urging school districts in the U.S. and Canada to create a curriculum on interpersonal communication skills for all school-aged children. The parent who started this petition, Marlene Cover, wrote, "The cost of our failure to acknowledge the importance of interpersonal communication skills and the value of proactive instruction are present in every avenue of human interaction. That was a very profound thought to begin training our young people in interpersonal skills that will take them through the rest of their life in business and personal success. All of these components from the history of business communication have a place in our world today. Communication in business needs each one of these pieces. Social expectations, more than 100 years in the making. Scientific evaluation of how communication takes place. The autonomous nature of each combined with the collaborated, shared focus to achieve success. Each of these components creates the need for and the design for interpersonal communication training. No one can project if the trend for interpersonal business communication training will continue. What we can say with certainty is that history dictates another trend may soon come along to take up the spotlight. What's also certain is this: interpersonal business communication training will create an environment accepting of whatever else comes, creating people equipped with the skills necessary to encourage change, make change, and withstand change. What Westlake envisioned as an art melded with the scientific rendering of Berlow's view. The result of time and necessity transformed communication into a blend that will meet the needs of business and humanity to perfect communication on all levels.